Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Right or Die Show. I am your host, Randi-lee Boslaw. Today with me, I have Jeff Rasley. Did I say it right?
You did.
Guys, he literally just told me how to say it, and yet I was like, "Oh, did I do it right?" Because that is how short my memory is. So tell us a little bit about who Jeff is.
Well, thanks, Randy. And you might recall I was a guest on your show about a year ago. So
I do.
this is my second time. So I grew up in a small town called Goshen, Indiana. Um, Started college, dropped out, worked in a factory, hitchhiked around the country, went back to school, went over to school in England, traveled around England, then dropped out again, motorcycled all across the country down through Mexico, had quite an adventure, but eventually finished college at the University of Chicago, went to law school, became a lawyer, practiced law for 30 years. In the meantime, while I was doing that, I picked up a master's in divinity degree, which gave me the credentials to also do counseling in addition to lawyering. And long-term marriage, married my college sweetheart. We had
Which
two
which
kids.
college though?
Chicago. Yeah. There were several, but no, the last one stuck.
Okay.
Um, in terms of the college and the sweetheart. And two grown boys. And I was financially successful enough and lucky enough that I was able to retire when I was 56 years old.
That's the
So I've spent
dream.
Yeah, so I've spent quite a few years now writing. I've written 14 books, over 80 articles. I lead um, treks and climbing expeditions in Nepal.
Okay, I don't think you told me about that last time.
No, I'm sure I did.
I feel like that's something that would have stuck. Although, like I said, my memory is bad, and like you said, it was like a year ago, so maybe
True.
that didn't. But that's so cool. So I feel like that one would have stuck.
Yeah. So I went over the first time in 1995 and to do the Everest Base Camp trek and just kept going back. Started a foundation that works in a remote area in Nepal called the Basa Village Foundation. Um, I'm still the president of that foundation. I'm the president of another foundation called Scientech Foundation of Indiana, which
Wow.
focuses on STEM or STEAM, because we've added the A for art,
Right,
humanities.
yes.
And we give away 150 to $200,000 a year for programs all around Indiana.
Wow.
Um,
So
yeah.
big question here, because you retired at 56 and you were lawyering, you were counseling, and now you're doing all of these other things. Sounds like you're busier now being retired than when you were working.
Well,
Or just
sometimes it
different
feels
busy.
that way, but yeah, but no, I mean, when I was practicing law, I was also at one point I was serving on seven different nonprofit and for-profit boards. I was
Oh,
very active in my church. I was an active dad. So life actually back then was really super busy. So it's
so you
actually
just
much
like
healthier.
being busy.
Yeah, I like feeling like my existence has meaning beyond just
Yeah.
existing.
And I think it does. And now the most important thing about you that you have not shared, you have a kitty cat.
I have the silliest little kitty cat named Poppy. I've I've had cats my whole life, and happily, my wife also is a cat lover, and our boys were cat lovers. So, yeah. So the current one is Poppy, and she's 2 years old. So she still acts like a silly little kitty.
Oh, I love it. And what color is she?
She's a tabby, so a
I
whole,
love it.
kind of a
Yeah, like a
model.
brownish mix of different. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cute. Yeah, the most important thing anyone can ever share about themselves is their animals. And yet that's the one I always have to ask people more specifically about. I don't know, it's like the first thing I think of, but
Well, that's
Mm.
probably, it says something about a person's personality. I mean, because I love my kitty cat and I play with her every day and I give her
Yeah,
a lot of attention. But yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I wouldn't have mentioned her if you hadn't asked me. It's so cool that you did.
I always ask about the animals. Um, I don't, yeah, they just bring so much joy in my world that I have to ask about them. Um, so I suppose we shouldn't talk about kitty cats forever, even though I could. Mine is trying to break into into the bedroom here, but the door is holding, guys. It is holding. Um, so tell us, let's jump in here. Let's talk about mental health. And like Jeff had mentioned, he was on the show before. So if you have not watched all of the episodes, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't have. Rude. Go back though, find Jeff's other episode, take a watch of that one, and let's jump in here and share what it is that you have dealt with or dealing with.
Hmm. Well, interestingly, like I told you right before we went on air, I just 2.5 weeks ago had a hip replacement, which has, before having the surgery, offered up not only some serious physical challenges and issues, but mental health issues as well. And because trekking, climbing, and sports have been a very important aspect of my life. I played sports all through school,
Hmm.
lettered in 3 sports in high school, 3 sports in college, and have coached. And it's just, being physically active has been a very, very significant part of my identity, and how I spend my time.
Hmm.
So, um, getting to a point where I just to walk was painful. I mean, it hurt
Hmm.
even just to walk around, and all these activities I love to do, I started having to shed. I couldn't ride my bike. I couldn't play volleyball. I was playing pickleball as my last sport, my last physical activity, and I was able to swim right up to before the surgery. But now I'm 2.5 weeks post-operative, and I I've started to be able to walk with a cane, but I I can't really do anything other than the physical therapy I'm
Hmm.
supposed to do, So
Yeah.
it's it's an interesting mental and emotional challenge for me as well as a physical one. And I have to admit that because I have a history of depression, which we talked about, before, um, I wake up in the morning and these things that I used to look forward to do, that I, when I get out of bed because I'm going to go play pickleball or I'm going to
Hmm.
go swim or I'm going to go bike or I'm going to play volleyball. Well, I don't have any of that to look forward to. And I find myself just wanting to stay in bed, which,
Yeah.
having, the active life I've led, is not a healthy reaction, but it's, you know, um, and I recognize this is a short-term sort of very situationally specific,
True,
but
but it
there
can
is,
have significant ramifications on your mental health. It's
yeah,
kind of like an entire identity shift with having, like you said, you were super active, and then now it's you can't do all of those things. So I can totally relate to that. Because a, y- it's been 2 years, one year. Again, memory, guys, don't have one. But it has been over a year, let's say, where my body has also decided it does not want to do all the things that I was doing before. And so I was really into kickboxing. I was on the Canadian national team for a few years. And then it was a little over a year ago when I couldn't stand up anymore for long periods of time. My back was in excruciating pain. My feet were in excruciating pain. You know, I'm slowly coming around to finding, and I liked how you said that you kind of had to figure out what you could do with the pickleball and the swimming. Hopefully get back to all that other stuff though now. But it is a matter of finding what else can I do. So swimming has been a really good one. Pilates, loving Pilates lately. But there's that piece that longs for the kickboxing or longs to go for a run. When you were just mentioning there about waking up in the morning and normally you would go do whatever sport. Yeah, I used to wake up in the morning, go for a run every single morning. And now I wake up and I go, okay, let me just move this way and move that way so I can function and get out of bed instead of, let's go for a run. It's a huge identity shift. So even though yours is hopefully a very shorter term problem, I think there's a lot of listeners that can relate to, a shift in identity or a loss of identity with having these potentially new pains.
Yeah, and chronic pain is highly associated with depression.
Hmm.
And uh, people who've been athletic as we get older, um, most of us end up dealing with chronic pain. I mean, I've had knee problems, had ACL surgery, had low back problems, neck, cervical issues because I've had lots of sports injuries. I mean, anybody who played football and rugby ends up
Yeah.
with sports injuries, concussions, etc. Um, so this isn't brand new to me, but the one thing that's weird about this one is the sports injuries I've had in the past. It's like, something is broken or twisted or stressed or strained or torn, and then it gets repaired and it's still you. It's
Hmm.
nothing has changed. You've gone through this fix and then, well, now I have this titanium piece of metal in me, which
Mm.
is really sort of horrifying to think about what's been done to my body.
Yeah.
Um, but I had to have it done because I got to the point, like I said, where I couldn't even walk without excruciating pain.
Yeah.
So, but it's an odd sort of, thing to think about that I've got this big piece of metal stuck in me and they cut a big chunk of bone out and
Yeah.
stuck this in and yikes. And there's this really big incision now, which will eventually fade.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Right? They've changed a piece of you to something that, yeah, like you said, it's not you. I mean, it's going to become a part of you, but it was not manufactured within your own body, let's say.
No, because even the ACL surgery, I mean, they can actually use somebody else's tendon, but they strip a piece of my patella tendon off and transplant it to replace my ACL.
Mm. So still
So
you.
it's still me.
Hmm.
It's not a foreign object that's been stuck inside me.
Yeah. I've never actually thought about that before. And you're the first person, I can talk. First person to mention something like that where, you know, with having that type of surgery, something foreign is inside of you that you now have to wrap your head around the fact that this is going to sound awful, but your body just couldn't do it anymore, right? Like you were broken and you needed
Yeah.
outside. I want to say weaponry because it sounds cool. You needed outside weaponry to fix your inside parts.
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of odd to think about that there's this
Hmm.
alien object in me. And, you can imagine sort of like it takes over you. I mean, crazy
There's one of your
science
next books. There you
fiction-y.
go.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that, which I haven't really had any serious thoughts like that, but it does. I mean, having been um so athletic and into climbing and stuff like that, that where the the use of my physical self
Hmm.
is so important. And then to have it just, kind of grind down to not being, barely functional. And now have this foreign object. I mean, it's an odd experience. And my surgeon and my friends who've been through this surgery tell me, oh, it's worth it. You'll be so happy once you get
Hmm.
through the therapy and you're back to being able to do most of your activities. But the thing is, I will never be able to do some of the things I used to do. Like I'm told you can't run.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I've been a runner all my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And to
That's,
think, yeah, I can they say you can bicycle, you can
hmm.
swim, you can play pickleball,
Yeah. It's
but
that
running and
pressure of the
like,
running.
yeah, volleyball, basketball, out.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
jumping, out.
Yeah, that's been a struggle for me as well because it's the arthritis in both sacroiliac joints, which is hip. And yeah, it's that pressure of the running, and all I want to do, especially as our weather turns nice, which is not today, but as our weather turns nice where I live, I'm right by a canal and it's beautiful and I used to run around it all the time and it's gorgeous. So there is this big part of me that just looks outside at the other people running going, "Oh, I could do that." And my puppy would come with me and right? So there's definitely a loss of identity and a shift in our mental thought process when these things are taken away from us without our consent, without our willingness to let them go. It was just, you can't do this anymore. And it's like, whoa, what do you mean I can't do something I want to do? That's not my choice. Um, it can be really hard. So, on the mental side, I mean, you've mentioned it, but on the mental side of things, how are you coping with that?
Well, I think something that was really helpful is I have a number of friends that have gone through this. And so I talked with, really kind of talked through what's the experience like with several of them. Um, and the medical staff and the surgeon, the people that were with me through the process were wonderful. I mean, just, kind, compassionate. So today's Sunday. I was concerned about how the incision looked because there was redness developing around it.
Okay.
And I called the medical office. They had the surgeon, the head surgeon, who's a really big time guy, call me. So
Oh,
yeah, I texted him a picture of what the incision looks like. I called back, said, it's not an infection. You just got kind of a rash around it.
okay.
Use hydrocortisone cream, not a big deal. But I mean, you think that, oh my God, on a Sunday, a doctor's going to call you? No way. Well,
That wouldn't happen
uh,
here.
yeah. So
Oh,
that's
that's good.
that's been just great
Hmm.
having my physical therapist gave me his card and phone number, email, said call me anytime you want.
Oh,
So I don't
good.
care when. If you have something you want to talk about,
Hmm.
call me, which I haven't, felt that need. But he's also, great. And they send a physical therapist to my house for the first
Nice.
10 days, and he was just a delightful guy. And turned out he's from India. And so we had a lot to share
Nice.
because I've been to India and Nepal and so
You've been
forth. And
everywhere.
so, but so, having the right people to work with, I think has been really helpful.
Hmm.
And so, and then, I mean, I'm lucky that I'm married and my wife is here to help me. I mean, if I had to do this by myself, I mean, like the first the first few days, getting up, going to the bathroom, getting in and out of bed, stuff like that was so difficult. I mean, I managed to do it, but I can't drive. I mean, if I had I if I had to get groceries, I'd have to order them here. I mean, the I for the first week I couldn't go up and downstairs, so all my clothes and stuff were
Oh
upstairs, and
yeah.
Alicia had to bring them, stuff down, and so again, having somebody that I live with who cares enough about me to be my temporary servant has been, terrific. And so, somebody who hasn't been as fortunate as I am in my situation would be so much more difficult. But even
Mhm.
so, with all this wonderful help and people around me, just that, I mean, what we've already talked about, this change in my life. I wake up in the morning and it's like, I don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And what's really helped is, so for 2 weeks they said, don't go out. Just you're supposed to walk around your house every hour for a few
Okay.
minutes and increase that. But so I've now gone out. My wife and I have gone out to eat twice. I belong to a club that meets for educational programs on Mondays, so I've done that. I went to Quaker meeting today. So,
Okay.
I'm starting to do a lot of the things I used to do, just as long they just can't involve any significant walking or,
Hmm.
require any sort of physical
Yeah.
activity beyond sitting, standing, short walks with a cane.
Yes. So there's a lot of, I mean, coping involving having the right people around you is a really big one, and hopefully anybody else in the same situation is finding their peeps. I know when my body kind of decided I couldn't do some things, and I'm still I'm still holding out hope that I'll find some answers that will lead me back to at least half of what I was doing before. Um, but finding the right people to talk to about it, because if you've never dealt with chronic pain before, it can be really hard to understand because I definitely didn't understand it before I felt it. I'm like, what do you mean you're feeling the rain coming? That's been my biggest one. Is like, oh, guys, it's gonna rain, and people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's gonna rain, and that was something before people would say, I'm like, Psh, you can't hurt because of rain. No, no, you do, you do. So finding the people that understand that was a big help for sure. Um, I totally agree. And then it sounds like finding activities that you enjoy, they're maybe not the ones that you would have done or you still maybe want to do, but finding some different activities that still bring you a lot of joy seems to be a really big coping strategy for you, big help.
Yeah, I think, you need something to look forward to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And so on the days that I've had some activity scheduled that was going to involve society, being with other people, those were the days that it was easier, even even on those days, there was still this sort of tendency of it's going to hurt to get up. Let me just lie here. But it was easier to face that pain to get up. And I mean, I have work that I need to do every day to some extent because of being president of the two foundations,
Yes.
and I'm on the board of another one. And so there's that kind of thing, which is mostly through the screen, sending
Yeah.
emails, responding, or talking on the phone, that analyzing data, that kind of thing. But that's generally I can sort of do uh, on my own schedule. Whereas when like I'm was in a pickleball group, or I have swimming at such and such a time, or I'm going to bicycle with these guys at such and such, all of that's gone. So
Hmm.
the but still, I mean, I guess, the point is to have things that you can enjoy given whatever limitations that you have that involve other people.
Yeah.
Because if it's just, doing something on your computer, I mean, sure, that's better than nothing, but there's something about, and I've really, this has really driven that home. Because the first week or so, I really, didn't see anybody other than my wife, and didn't go out.
Hmm.
We have one son who lives here, and he came over once or twice. But so a friend in my pickleball group calls me up. He says, "Can I stop over?" And it was like, "Oh, thank you. Yes." I mean, and he said that he could because he said something like, "But I don't have to come now." I said, "No, no, come." And he said, when he came over, he said, "I could tell you sounded almost desperate. Like I didn't know you liked me that much." So, well, I really don't, but I just wanted to see anybody. So,
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that just that need to interact with people when, I mean, and that was just a week.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's what it is though. It's knowing that people are around, and yeah, seeing people is even more helpful than just talking to them, like you said, through a screen or emails or even the phone. And that just reminds me, my friend right now, she's going through some family stuff or whatever, and I'll just text her and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Or just like send a funny picture or something, because I don't have the opportunity to go over and see her, but I'm like, I want you to know that I'm still here, because it can be so much harder when for it's easy to forget that there are other people around. Even though you consciously know it, it's a feeling, right, of it. So, throwing if you can't physically go see the person, which is, like you said, 10 times better, but if you can't, throw in that nice text, "Hey, checking in. What's up? I'm here."
well, it's also really made me sort of kind of more conscious of how I should be more proactive in doing that for other people.
Yes.
I mean, I have to admit, I'm not the sort of person that really thinks about that. Thinks
Me
of,
neither.
because I'm sort of more organizationally programmed. I do all this good stuff through organizations, but to do that for another person, it's really important because, yeah, I mean, we've all
Hmm.
heard about sort of the loneliness epidemic.
Yeah.
uh, and so even, just having that experience of being stuck in my house, not seeing anybody for that first week, it's like, yeah, I'm feeling kind of lonely. And
Hmm.
to imagine having that going on for a long period of time, yeah, that's sad. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, let's think about people that are in that situation that we could be a contact for, and to help them prevent feeling too lonely and depressed.
Yeah. Let's here's my shout out to everybody listening, watching. Pick one, two, 10. I don't care how many people you pick, but pick some people to consciously make the decision to reach out, that maybe you haven't talked to in a while. Or maybe you're like me and you get so busy and so you don't think about doing it, and you're like, it's fine, we're still friends, which is true. It's not that you're not, but throwing out a message once in a while, picking up the phone, calling them. Even my aunt sends a message every morning while she's waiting for work to start, because she gets dropped off by her husband a little bit before her work starts. Every morning she sends me a "Good morning, have a great day, praying for you," little smiley face, like, and it brightens my day. And I know it's coming, and the days it doesn't come, I'm like, "Hey, are you not at work today? What's happening?" But, it just can brighten your day just having that nice little message. So let's make a conscious effort. I'm throwing it out there in the universe. Let's make a conscious effort to reach out to somebody and spread the joy.
Yeah, that's really sweet that your aunt does that.
Yeah, the one day she didn't, and I'm like, "Oh, are you sick?" Like, that's my first thought was, "Are you sick? Because you didn't send it." And then she sent it later on in the day, um, because she wasn't at work. She had she had an appointment, so she wasn't at work, but she still sent it to me. I'm like, okay, good, you're not sick, and yay.
Okay.
You know? So we're coming to the end. So sad. But tell us what you have written. I mean, I know you've said you've written oodles, but what is your most recent thing going on?
So my latest book is what's called in literature a work of auto fiction. And what that is, which I didn't know that term
Yeah, I don't know
until
that
my
one.
wife, yeah, until my wife said that's what you're writing. She's an English professor, so
Oh
she
yeah.
knows a lot more than I do. Yeah. But so an auto fiction is a fictional memoir. So what I did
Okay.
is I took the experience I had when I dropped out of college and I hitchhiked from northern Indiana to Key West and then over to New Orleans for Mardi Gras and then back home when I was 18 years old. I took that experience and wrote a novel based on it. And so most of the people were people that I met, picked me up, interacted with. All the places that are in the book were places that I stayed. But there's so much that I can't remember, and I didn't take a camera with me. I didn't keep a journal.
Oh, jeez.
So I filled in all the gaps with just making up things that I thought would make sense. But I met some of the weirdest, kindest, craziest, dangerous people you can imagine. I mean, I hung out with
Sounds like it would make
hobos.
a good book.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly about the people that I met, and there's your kitty, and
Yep. She woke up, guys. Can you get out of the way?
and the experiences I had with these wild and crazy people and the situations that developed from it. And I mean, I I got entrapped into a a fanatical religious cult and had to escape. I was involved in a police riot during Mardi Gras where the cops charged in on horseback and beat people with their batons.
Oh my goodness.
I met two candidates that were running for president. I got kissed by Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman who ran for president.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
so there were just these really amazing experiences for an 18-year-old kid from a small town.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what the book is about. And the title is A Hitchhiker's Big Adventure, uh,
Hmm.
hitchhiking from northern Indiana to Key West and Mardi Gras. And so that's my latest literary effort. And it was a lot of fun to write.
It sounds like it would be, and especially because like you're reliving those memories. That sounds super cool.
Yeah.
Is that one out now?
Yeah, it was published just before Christmas.
Oh, nice. So where do we pick it up?
Well, you can get it on Amazon. So if you just input my name on Amazon, you'll find it. I also have a website, which is just my full name, Jeffrey Rasley. And it's all my books are on my website, but they're also all available through Amazon too. So
Excellent. And she's very distracting, Um, Normally I introduce my kitties. So this one here that's being a little pain in my butt, everybody, this is Smokey. I don't think she's really guest starred on the show. It's usually Black Cat or Neo. So there's Smokey. She is the troublemaker of all my kitties. So she is currently trying to knock over the camera. But anyways, back to our regular scheduled program. Where do we follow you?
Hmm. Website, www.jeffreyraisley.com.
Excellent.
And my email is available, so through the website. So anybody who wants to make a personal contact, happy to do that. You just click on the email and we're connected.
Wonderful. And we're going to put the links, of course, down in the description below. Any last words before we say goodbye?
Well, I guess I would, from our talk, and I mean, this isn't necessarily what I anticipated or you and I
Got to
planned.
keep
It
it
just
fresh.
evolved. I mean, I think a really meaningful message is for all of us to think about who is that persons that might be experiencing loneliness, and would just really appreciate being contacted. And that's just, a simple little thing that we can do that would give another person joy and comfort. So let's do it.
Thank you. So thank you everybody for joining us again for the Write or Die show. Tune in next time because we always have amazing guests and you never want to miss a single one. If you have not already hit that like and subscribe button, do it now. Come on. Be sure to check out all of Jeff's books because we just talked about one of many, many. Again, links down in the description below. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly. Bye.